Sorry guys, my internet got bumped off. Trying to see here. Hopefully you guys can see me and hear me. Hold on here. Alright, hopefully you guys can see and hear me. For some reason or another, my internet got disconnected. Let me see. Hopefully you guys can see and hear me again. About Buick. It even includes small Korean-built small crossovers. People here doubt GM, though, since it seems eager to close down GM Korea completely and move on. Good. I'm glad you can see me now. Well, and the thing is the Trax, which is pretty actually successful here because it's so cheap. My cousin sells Chevrolets, and they have been doing really good with the Trax. They, it seems like, the Trax starts out at like $23,000 US, and they move up to about close to $30,000. The thing is that is a huge seller for them right now, especially here in Detroit, because a lot of people are buying them because they can afford them. They're appliance cars. They're basically cars that, not everybody wants, but they're cheap to get into. And that's what they need to do for Chrysler. The thing is there's plants here that they need to utilize better to move production here in the US. And there's certain things they can do. They can do a thing called like flex plants where they can build multiple vehicles at one plant. Belvedere used to build multiple vehicles. They used to build the Dart, which is the PF platform. And then that was basically the small or compact US wide platform. And then they had they built the Patriot and the Compass at the same time. Those were two different platforms. They were both the MK platforms. So there's different things they can do. It's just they gotta like maximize production. There's no reason why they can't continue to change out production. It's going to cost money to move stuff around, but they could do it. The problem is it takes money and time, and both of those things are kind of working against Stellantis right now because honestly they gotta fix stuff because they gotta sell cars. The other thing is the amount of money on hand that they have. I mean, they gotta get capital going. They gotta sell cars in order to make money to do the production moves. So we'll see. Hold on a second here. I gotta crack open a drink. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they have to do going forward. Hopefully we'll see changes within the next 15 months. I'm hoping that hearing these people talk about like the executives like Tim Kuniskis and Chris Fuel and Antonio Filosa and stuff about the future of the brands kind of helps kind of builds you a little more how can I say it? It kind of makes you buy into what their idea is. The problem is the execution. We have to see product that's better than what's out there now. And until that happens, there's going to be doubt no matter who it is. It doesn't matter if you're a huge Mopar fan and you want the brands to be successful. It doesn't matter if you're a skeptic and you could care less, but you just, you just want some kind of performance vehicle or whatever. The thing is they have to execute these new vehicles good. The Charger Daytona should be a huge learning experience, and the Wagoneer S should be a huge learning experience of what not to do. Do not rush product that is not necessarily finished, even if you're getting pushbacks or, not pushbacks, but if you're getting incentives from the governments and stuff to, get these vehicles out, because it's going to do more damage than anything. And I think Antonio Filosa understands that because he's been putting out fires with dealers and all this other stuff. Honestly, the dealers are very upset about all this stuff. They hate the fact about, these warranty repairs. Stellantis is challenging them on warranty repairs and stuff like that for these products that they're rushing out. So there's a lot of fires that have to be put out going forward. And hopefully we'll see change in the next 15 months. That's all I can say, like right now. I hope to God and I pray as a Mopar fan that things, end up being very successful. Again, it's going to depend on execution of product. That they keep cranking out the product and all the issues that they're having now, there's no going back. I'm sorry. All the time and money that they're putting into the new product, if the quality and execution aren't there, you're not going to get customers back. I would rather see them focus on product that's going to be well executed, and even if it's delayed, like I really don't care. They're going to delay the next generation Durango. They moved it back for like 2 years. It was supposed to launch as a 2027 model. Now it's going to be like after 2029 because the current Durango, the WD, is going to be basically in production until 2029. But the thing is, the Durango's a solid vehicle. The thing is, it needs another small update. It needs like a new steering wheel, stuff like cosmetic stuff to kind of keep it going to feel fresh. So they do have to invest in that product. I'm sorry, that's what they have to do in order to keep customers going, unless they plan on just milking it out and becoming the next Dodge Journey. Because that's what happened with the Journey. After the 2011 update, they didn't do anything to that vehicle other than offer the Crossroad model. And basically, that was it. They just milked that vehicle. So if they're going to do that and still continue to offer it at a low price compared to its competition, it could be successful. But if they want to be competitive, because they're losing sales on the Durango now, the Durango's still selling pretty decent, but it's not selling like it was. The thing is, they have to update it very small. They can do small updates to kind of like, put a new front bumper on it, keep the headlamps and stuff, change the steering wheel out, update the Uconnect system, stuff like that, to make it live on for another few years. But if they're going to just milk it out, that's going to show a lot of people that they just don't care. And that's the kind of fine line. Do you just keep it going, offer an affordable vehicle, or do you keep it more competitive against its competitors? So we'll see. If GM can make a $20,000 crossover, so should Dodge. I agree. They should move the C6X and Cherokee KM to Belvedere, seeing as those two vehicles are US and Canada exclusives. I agree 1,000%. Any idea why the rats have more problems than the scats? Great leases on RTs, but I'm a bit worried. So Bobby, the thing with the RTs are, if you look at the car itself, okay, one of the big problems that's causing all of this like crap, those cars to brick and stuff, has to do with the four-wheel drive system. Okay, basically there's two EDMs, but they're basically coupled. Like on the Scat Pack, you notice the range is like 241 miles of range of what the EPA says. I get better than that, but it's 241 miles range. And then on the RTs, it's over 300. It's like what the hell is it? Like 304 or 308 or something like that. I can't remember what it is exactly. But anyways, the reason why they have the same EDMs, they're basically the same car, right? But why can the RT get better, range with the same battery pack? And the reason why is if you're driving on the highway with your RT, it decouples. Well, what they're finding out is there's an issue with that decoupler. And what it does is it's basically when the four-wheel drive system, basically makes it so it's running only on the rear motor. Sometimes there's a fault in the car and it basically sent to the computer. And from what I was told is that fault causes a bunch of crap underneath in the modules to basically set up like all that Red Lobster, what they call the Red Lobster, which is basically a wrench with a zigzag pattern in it, and all this other crap to go on. So that's one of the reasons why we heard that the RT is being taken off right now. That and the fact that they have a ton of them still on lots. So with that being said, the RT and the Scat Pack are the same car, but the Scat Pack doesn't have that decoupler. And it's kind of funny because if you look at my Uconnect system while I'm driving, I'll have to do a video on it. It shows that the rear motor is the only one working on my car when I'm driving on the highway. But it's not true, because that's the reason why the mileage is so bad on the Scat Pack. It's because it doesn't have the decoupler system. And Mopar Tech Jordan, I'm going to try to get him on here. He will go through all of that stuff with you. He's the one who's kind of been informing me on that. He basically says that, you know, that's the one reason that's setting off a lot of codes and stuff is this decoupler system. So we'll see. Again, I don't quote me on that, but that's what I've been told. And that, again, I'm going to try to get Mopar Tech Jordan on here and have an actual conversation with him. And that way you guys can actually see and talk to him and get questions answered by him, because he's really, really good. And he does all the PDI for his dealership on all the EVs. He's got a Charger Daytona Scat Pack. He's got a 2004 or 24 one. And he's been beating the heck out of it trying to get it to break on purpose just to see, you know, how good it is. And it hasn't been able to break yet. He's also been going through like all the problems that they've been having with the cars, all the new TSBs. So if you really want to get like a really good look at what's going on with the Charger Daytona, I really recommend Bobby going onto his channel, Mopar Tech Jordan. Check him out, Jordan Rose. He's a really cool guy, really nice guy. Let's see here. I think the Ram midsize will end up on the next generation Gladiator J80 platform. Maybe. We'll see. It's going to be very related to the Gladiator. So, from what I've been told. There's some stuff out there that we'll talk about it later. Let's put it that way. I know there's a lot of people that watch this stuff after it's up, and I don't want to say anything just yet. Chrysler has catered to a younger audience, to be honest. I'm 22 and I want a Chrysler when I get older, but none of my friends think they're good enough. So I was always a Dodge person. Growing up, I was always Dodge. As I've gotten older, I like Chrysler stuff. What really set me off about Chrysler was the 300C launch. And I was going to buy a Dodge Charger Daytona 392. I was going to buy a Sublime car. That was my dream car. And then it was funny, I ordered that 300C because it was cheaper and it had more options. And when I picked that car up, I was never huge into the 300 body style. I thought it was like, okay, you know, it looks cool. I've driven plenty of them. You know, my best friend's dad had an early, 2025 car, or not 2025 car, Jesus, 2005 300C. And he loved that car. I've driven a whole bunch of different ones. We had them for rental cars. I've had the 300 Touring for rental cars. I had the Pentastar. I've driven all types of different 300s. But it never really grew on me. And then as I hit about 40, I don't know, there's just something about like the more luxurious appeal to it. I really thought that car, my 300C in white, looked really good. Was I like a diehard about the 300 up until then? No, but it grew on me. Now that I'm older, I'm starting to get into more Chrysler stuff. The reason why is because when you're younger, you want that performance edge kind of stuff. I was always fascinated with the Viper. I was always fascinated with the Ram SRT10, the Neon SRT4, Caliber SRT4, all that stuff. But as I've gotten older, I'm more of like, to me, yeah, you can go out and have 800 horsepower on the street. Like I have almost 700 horsepower with the Charger Daytona. It's fun to punch on every once in a while, but realistically, not many people use that kind of power on the street. To me, my 300C was kind of like perfect how it was laid out. 485 horsepower, 500 horsepower is really the mark, like I think is a great boulevard cruiser. 500 horsepower is great. That car was set up for like me. I love going up and down Woodward Avenue. I only live, a short distance from there. I cruise Woodward quite a bit. So to me, like boulevard cruising, hanging out with friends and stuff, 500 horsepower was fine. I didn't have a problem with that at all. but I just loved how that car was set up. It was different. You know, you get into it, unlike the Charger, basically the same car. There isn't much difference other than some simple touches. So like my 300C had the piano black kind of finish, which I hate piano black, but whatever. And it had carbon fiber accents on certain things. But it had like, you know, the analog clock that all the Chryslers used to have. And that kind of like made it feel a little fancier. The panoramic sunroof, which was nice. Like even my Charger Daytona, like it has, I didn't opt for a glass roof option, right? I was going to look for a car that was fully loaded. And then I realized, like, to me, the glass roof was pointless because you can't open it. And I've always owned cars with sunroofs. Like I had 2 Dodge Charger RT all-wheel drive cars, and both of them had sunroofs. And then this car doesn't have a sunroof at all. To me, that's stupid. Like I want a car with a sunroof. I want that panoramic sunroof was great. You just felt like it was a little more upscale. And it wasn't. There was no real difference between that and like the Charger Daytona. I mean, other than the freaking crazy exterior color in the body lines, the 300C was pretty much the same thing. But it was enough to kind of make it feel a little more luxurious. And I think that's what Dodge and Chrysler have to do again. They have to, like, there's no reason for me. Like, I honestly believe this. I think that they could easily get rid of the Chrysler Voyager and make that a Dodge again. One trim level, entry level van, make it a Dodge, make it a little sporty, give it a little sportier front bumper, maybe some, you know, LED headlamps, and that's it. Like, make it a Dodge Grand Caravan again. Chrysler can stay that more luxurious kind of option. There's no reason why they can't do that. Let's see here. I want a new Dodge Neon or a Dart so bad. Right now I'm thinking about getting a used 2011 to 2015 300. Those ones with the chrome strip under the lights. So, honestly, I'm going to tell you something. If you go to get a 2011 to 2015 car, there's only one car I would tell you to get. And that is basically an all-wheel drive Hemi car. That powertrain with the all-wheel drive and the 5-speed was fine. If you're going to look at getting basically a Chrysler 300, I would suggest you look at the 2015 and newer cars. The 8-speed transmissions are so much better. So much better. The ZF transmissions, I mean, the Pentastar cars have a Chrysler-built version of the ZF, but the basically the Hemi cars with the 8-speed, even the 5.7 just feels like it's got tons more power. Just because that thing shifts so much faster, it's better on fuel. Honestly, if you're looking at a rear-wheel drive car, look for 2015 or 16, 300, basically an S, I would say, with a V8, 5.7. That would be a great car. Great car. If you're looking for something that's like basically cheap with all-weather capability, you can get an S with an S or a C, an early C, with the V6 and all-wheel drive, pretty reasonable. The Pentastar engine is good. You just got to make sure you do the maintenance on it. I'm sorry, you got to make sure you do, like, get your oil changed every 3,000 miles. When I think the engine hits what, 100? I think it's like 100,000 miles. You change the plugs out on it, and you basically get the why am I not thinking right? Just check what the owner's manual says. I can't think of. I'm burnt out for this week, but anyways. Just look at the owner's manual and actually keep up on the maintenance on the car, and it's fine. That powertrain will be fine. Let's see here. I've always been a Jeep and Chrysler guy when I was a little kid. My dad had a WJ Grand Cherokee Laredo 4.7 liter V8, and my mom had the original Pacifica crossover. The 4.7 liter V8 is by far my favorite engine that Chrysler's ever built. And my dad's on here. And here I'm driving around in a 195 horsepower Chrysler, but then I can open the roof. So, the funny thing is like that 4.7, my dad knows this because I own 2 of them. If you maintain those, everybody says they burn oil. I have never had an issue with a 4.7 burning oil as long as you maintain it. Matter of fact, my dad has my old 2003 Dodge Durango SLT with a 4.7 in it. And that thing, I absolutely love that motor. I had a 2000 with 180,000 miles on it, and that I had it right when gas went up to like $4 a gallon. And I actually bought a Mercury Milan just as a daily driver because gas was so damn expensive. I let that thing sit for a year, wouldn't put a battery in it, turned it over, basically when I put the battery in, turned it over, it clicked, turned it off, turned it back on, fired right up. That engine is bulletproof. I love the 4.7. The original Chrysler Pacifica crossover, that thing is something else because it was very Mercedes-like. It had all the seat controls on the doors and stuff. And I remember I worked at a dealership back in 06 and 07, and they sent us to basically like these dealer things where they show you the new product and you get to go test drive them. Chrysler, we used to do these like little clinics and stuff. And we went and drove the 4-liter V6 2007 Pacifica, and I thought like, holy smokes, this thing's fast, because they had like 260 horsepower. Let's see here. I live in the Bay Area and I don't need all-wheel drive. Want a Hemi, but gas prices are through the roof. Yeah, I work full-time and can barely afford rent, so adding a Hemi would literally be my breaking point. So the Pentastar V6 is plenty of power for you. It's got 300 horsepower. If you get the S, it's got 300 horsepower. It's plenty of balls. I mean, my dad's got a Dodge Journey with almost 200,000 miles with the Pentastar. He does regular maintenance on it, and it's been bulletproof. And believe it or not, the Pentastar actually sounds pretty good. It's not that bad. It sounds better than the old Ford 3.7 liter V6s. It's got plenty of power. It's actually on the highway you can get pretty close to 30 miles a gallon. Again, I would go for the 8-speed automatic transmission. The only thing with the 8 speeds with the Pentastars on the 2015 to 2018 cars is you have that weird slapstick shifter. So you got to push the button down and then kind of slap it forward into what gear. That's the only thing I didn't really like about that. So let's see here. Tim Kuniskis reiterated an interview with Kevin Harvick about how most people call it a Dodge Ram. Do you think Tim could have influence over restructuring the Dodge and Ram brands? Absolutely. Tim is now in charge of the American brands. Basically, Antonio Filosa is still the COO for North America. He's the CEO and the COO for North America, but Tim reports directly to him. Tim is in charge of where the brand's directions are going to go, and he's also in charge of all the marketing for the brands. That's Tim's new job. So Tim is still the Ram CEO, but he is the guy who will make all the decisions for marketing and make all the decisions for where the brands are going to go forward. So the thing is like Tim said the same thing to us when we were at Auburn Hills. He basically said, that people still call it a Dodge Ram. And ultimately, there's no reason why they can't still use Ram like badging on the trucks and just put them back into the Dodge lineup. Again, having a full Dodge portfolio makes more sense to me than having Dodge and Ram separate. I understand why they did it back in 2009, but I think right now they need all the help they can get by making those brands kind of stand out together. And again, with SRT coming back into the picture, there's no reason why Ram can't help offset Dodge and really promote within. Because if you look at even at the styling, like if we look at this TRX here, you still see Dodge DNA in this thing. I mean, there's still body lines and stuff that are used on other Dodge vehicles. It's not like they ever really separated, but you got to remember back in the 80s and stuff, it was different because if you went to a Dodge dealership, they had Dodge and they had Dodge trucks, on the actual signage. There's no reason why they can't have Dodge and Ram, but still be a Dodge Ram. There's no reason why they can't do it. Even like the Secretary of State here, if you go to register your Ram truck, like when I did mine, it still said Dodge Ram on it. It wasn't a Ram 1500. It was a Dodge Ram 1500. So that's just how it is. Let's see here. That Jeep was so badass, but horrible on gas when he owned it from 2005 to 2011. He ended up having to trade it in for a Ford Focus because he drove an hour. And that's exactly why when gas hit that huge price in 2009, that's the exact reason why I basically parked mine. I bought a Mercury Milan, and I've owned 3 Ford products since I started driving. My grandfather gave me a 1990 Ford Ranger with a little stick shift. It was a regular cab truck. I absolutely love that thing. I had that when I was in high school, and then I had my Mercury Milan, which was actually the reason why I bought a Mercury Milan. You guys are gonna laugh, is because I was looking at buying a Chrysler Sebring at the time, or I was looking at buying a 200. It was right when they changed to the 200, and I was looking at buying it, but the reason why I didn't like the 200 had nothing to do with the styling or anything. It was when I got in the car, the center console kind of did this thing where it bent down, and it sat right where my knee was. And being a guy that's 6'1" and a bigger guy, my knee rested against that center console, and when I went to take it for a test drive, it drove me nuts about how my legs were kind of like positioned with the seat all the way down and all the way back. I still wasn't comfortable in that car. I went and drove the Mercury, and I got a lease turn-in with I think it was 18,000 miles on it. Some lady had it. It was a spring special. It had 20-inch Ford Fusion rims from the factory, those Fusion Sport rims on it. Sunroof, Sony stereo system. It was basically full of load. It had a sport spoiler. It was sport blue. Beautiful car. Absolutely love that car. Drove it. I drove it from 2011 to 2016. Put almost 100,000 miles on the car, and I absolutely loved it. It was a great car. Got really good gas mileage. It had a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder in it. It had 175 horsepower. It wasn't gutsy at all, but for a commuter car back and forth to work, it was a great little car. And it had tons of legroom in it. Absolutely love that car. And then the last Ford I owned was recently. I bought a 2014 Ford Mustang, Mustang Club of America convertible, and it was ruby red. I bought it for my wife, and it got T-boned and totaled out. So let's see here. Any upcoming updates to the Pentastar? It's been almost 20 years. Well, there's a new version of the Pentastar coming out. We know that because the Ram Charger's getting it. The Ram Charger is going to have that new... Basically, it's going to have, I want to say it has 40% different parts than the current Pentastar. And what it does is it's basically a generator. So that really doesn't power the wheels. It just charges the battery. And I haven't heard anything new about huge Pentastar updates. So I haven't heard nothing about that. You got to remember, they're still running 2 different versions of the Pentastar too. On top of actually it'll be 3 with the Ram Charger one. They're still using the PUG, the Pug, the Pentastar upgrade, and then they still run the original Pentastar as well. My mom has an 18 Pentastar Caravan, and she still uses it daily. Yeah, the Pentastar engine's a great engine. You just got to maintain it. It runs fine. Again, 300 horsepower. If you get the minivans, it's 283. That's still plenty of power. It's not a bad powertrain. To be honest, that $25,000 electric Jeep sounds good to me because EVs are here everywhere in San Jose, so charging would be no problem. If the Fiat 500 EV was $25,000, I would have gotten one or gotten it day one. Well, the thing is, if you look around the 500, the 500e, you can get huge discounts on them right now because nobody's buying them. If you look at sales for the first part of the year, I want to say they're only 50% of what the sales were last year. So, yeah, you can probably find one for a pretty decent price. The problem with the 500e is the range. You're only going to get about 180 miles of range out of that thing. So if you don't drive much, it's not a bad little car. The problem is if you drive far, it's not going to work out for you. Let's see here. As a person who only saw Milan in the internet, the post-facelift Milan actually looked good in the official photos. Plus, I like the post-facelift Fusion. Yeah, so... You guys got a different version of the car that I had. My car was very basic. it kind of looked like a Fusion. It looked like the... Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick, and I'll send it over to the thing. It wasn't a bad little car. I actually loved driving it. I will say this, that car, for having really crappy kind of like button, like Ford always cheaps out on their button plastic. I will say that that plastic is on par with what the plastic is around my window controls on my charger. So if you watch that video, you've probably seen me complaining about how the plastic was really cheap and chintzy on the window controls of the new charger, Daytona. It was on par with that 2010 Mercury Milan that I had. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because that car was actually really sharp. Let me see. But I really love that car. It was a good all around car. The only issue I ever had with it was, well, I had two issues with it. One was I put LED headlamps in it. I put bulbs in it, and they would blow the ballast out on them all the time for some reason. The other thing is, this sounds stupid. So the backup, like we had a backup monitoring, so I had a camera and everything. But when you back it up, the beeping noise, the speaker basically broke. I don't know what happened to it. It made a squealing noise. So when I got rid of it, the dealer ended up fixing it. It was like a $140 part, but I got rid of it right after it started doing it. I was like, whatever. But it was a nice car. And if they could build cars like that again, cars that actually last, because that Mercury, I put almost 105,000 miles on it, and I already had like 18,000 miles on it. That car was great. Never had an issue. Changed the oil in it regularly. Never had an issue, ever. Let's see here. I got quite a few photos of the stuff I got. So let me see here. Give me just a second. I got a lot of pictures of it with my Durango that my dad has now. Let me see. But yeah, I absolutely love that car. It was a great car. Thought I had more. Here it is. I got a lot of old photos of stupid stuff on my Facebook. Let's see here. I'll send them over to the computer here so you guys can kind of see it. But yeah, it wasn't the top of the line car, and that's what Chrysler needs to do. They need to not build something that's fully loaded, or even Dodge. They just need to build something that's not best in class. They need to build something that's, does everything decent, but is good in quality. I would rather have something that is good in quality than have a best in class vehicle. Let me see here. Should pop up here any second. Maybe. There it goes. Right here. So this is the Mercury Milan I had. That's the car I had. You can see I put LED headlamps in it. But it wasn't a bad looking car. It was very basic. But it had 20-inch sport wheels on it. Actually, it was a really nice driving car. The back was very basic. But again, what the heck is it doing? What the heck is my computer doing? Had a spoiler on it, sunroof, 20-inch wheels, dual tip exhaust. It was a single exhaust, but it had dual tips on it with chrome. Just a very clean car. The color I wasn't huge into, but again, it was clean. Now this is my 2003 Dodge Durango that my dad still has. It's starting to rust out on the rockers and stuff, but this is the one that I had with the 4.7. I've always had two cars. I think right now is the first time I haven't had two vehicles in probably, I don't know, a long time. I've always owned two vehicles at a time. But right now I just got the Charger. I got a Durango, but that's my wife's car. So, but anyways, it was a nice car. It was comfortable inside. It had leather seats. I don't know if I got any pictures of the interior in it. Maybe I do. I don't think I do. But it wasn't a bad looking car. It was just very basic. So, But if they could build something like that was reasonably priced, I don't see why they wouldn't sell something like that. Yeah, I agree. They need a mid-sized commuter. I definitely agree on that. Let's see here. As a person, all right. Since then, he's been driving Subaru Legacy mid-sized commuter sedans. I bought his first one, a 2015 Legacy 2.5 that is currently my daily driver and sitting at 173,000 miles. See, and that's the thing. I mean, if you get one, like, that's, like, my dad has a Honda Accord. He's probably still in here. My mom bought a Honda Accord back in 2000? That car lasted, after my mom got done with it, my sister had it, and I think that car had like 200 almost 40,000 miles on it before the transmission went out on it. So, I mean, that car would still look pretty good. It was starting to rust a little bit because we live in Michigan, but it wasn't a bad car. My dad's got, over 110,000 miles on his 2018 Accord that he drives every day, and that thing still drives super, super smooth. So, I mean, Honda builds really good quality cars. And that's the thing, Toyota and Honda, they constantly sell over 200,000 units of their sedans every year. And the reason why is people need basically a decent commuter car, something that will last. That's why they have that reputation. That's why people keep buying compact sedans and buying, the Civic and the Accord and the Corolla and the Camry. It's because they can build cars that last. That's what they need to do. One thing that Tim Kuniskis told us at the Ram event was that he basically said that the average person now is holding on to their vehicle for 11 years. So, like, the average Ram owner is holding on to their trucks for 11 years, and most people are financing for up to 8 years now because they can't afford a new truck. So that was one of the reasons why he wanted to do the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, was because he wanted to make it so that people could have a warranty that basically lasts almost as long as the lifetime of the vehicle that they have. Now, again, that warranty won't be, transferred if the person sells it. So if you buy the car or you buy the truck, drive it for 2 years, and you basically get rid of it, you're not going to have the warranty. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. But honestly, if you're going to hold on to the vehicle for 8 years to 11 years, the warranty makes sense. So it's kind of like you're getting a little incentive that way. And that's what Tim was talking about why he did the whole, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Thinking of Chrysler compacts under $30,000, the most feasible thing I can think of is the Buick Encore and Envista coming from Korea. Achieving it in the U.S. production would be key to Chrysler. Agree. Again, I 100% agree. If they're going to build a compact crossover, it's got to be around the $30,000 mark. Now, the funny thing is Jeep has the Compass that starts out at like $26,000 now. That Compass Sport, but it has standard, all-wheel drive. Basically, you only get two options with it. You can buy graphics, I think, and a pedal kit. And you get to pick a color. It has 5 colors you can pick from. But the funny thing is when you look at incentives, that vehicle never has incentives on it because they're losing money on it. If you go and buy a Latitude model, so the step up, that vehicle starts about 31, but with incentives right now, it's on par with what the Sport is. So why buy even the base model? I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, let's talk about some stuff that's been going on. I talked a little bit about the Hornet. I wrote this the other day when I was gone, and basically what we found out was that the Hornet is being postponed because of the tariff situation, and it makes sense. And I'm going to do a follow-up article on this, and the reason why I say that is I think this is a good situation for Dodge, because the Hornet wasn't selling. It's been kind of a flop since it started. If you remember, Tim Kuniskis basically came out during Dodge Speed Weeks in 2022 and said, hey, dealers had already ordered, I think it was 12 or 14,000 the very first day. However, most of those sat on lots. So the thing is the Hornet isn't really a Dodge. We all know that. It's an Alfa Romeo rebadge. And the sad thing is, it's probably the worst rebadge, like badge engineering vehicle that we've seen. Basically, it's just a Dodge front end slapped on it. You get in the interior, they switch the start button around to where the mode button is, and that's it. If you're an American, like a big tall guy like me, I had one of these for a week. The powertrain and like the 1.3 liter plug-in hybrid model with all-wheel drive, it had 20-inch wheels, drove phenomenal. I can't say enough about how great that little powertrain is. My wife had that 1.3 in her Renegade with the plug-in system with the E all-wheel drive system. Actually, it didn't have any turbo lag, none, because the E all-wheel drive system actually helps smooth that out, so you don't feel any turbo lag whatsoever. Powertrain wise, suspension wise, it's great. It's when you get into the interior, it sucks because I'm 6'1". I couldn't lower the seat down because Europeans are smaller people than Americans. My head was touching the ceiling in it. Everything in it is Alfa Romeo. The controls for the stereo were terrible. They have that roller knob. I hate that thing. I constantly was flicking past, radio stations and stuff when I was trying to use it. There's just in the back seat was, even though it's got a longer wheelbase than the Compass, it's narrower than the Compass. And again, when you're in the vehicle and you're got a passenger and we're both Americans, bigger people, you're on top of that person. The Compass had a lot more room in it. Even though it had a longer wheelbase and it rode a little bit better than the Compass, my biggest problem with the Hornet was the fact that with the roof, how it's kind of laid out to be like that fastback design, if it was boxier, it would be, you'd have more headroom in the back. So my 15-year-old son was smashing his head into the back of the thing, and he's 5'7". He was cramped. And the cargo, how the hatch is set up in the thing, is it limits you from really storing anything in the back. So to me, this vehicle was not, it was just something kind of like thrown together. It had a cool premise to it. I would have loved to see the GLH and stuff come about. I think that kind of idea is cool, but I think the Hornet whole philosophy is it doesn't need 268 standard horsepower. It needs to have a 200 horsepower with front wheel drive only. And then you step up to all wheel drive. It needs to be about $25,000 starting and then roll into it. It doesn't need standard all wheel drive. I'm sorry, it doesn't. But there's no reason why they can't take the next generation Compass, the J4U, really build a nice vehicle out of it, and we're going to talk about that, and build something that can be fun. Front wheel drive, they have optional all wheel drive, but they can build an SRT model out of it. Why not? It's just, I think the Compass, or not the Compass, but I think the Hornet was poorly executed, as it was just a cheap way to bring something else to Dodge's lineup. Honestly, that's my opinion. Suspension-wise, engine-wise, great little vehicle. The way it was executed as a Dodge, no, terrible. The front styling isn't bad, but other than the headlights and the front fascia, nothing about this is a Dodge. Nothing. So, again, I just think it failed that way. If you drove one, again, it's not the best. It's not the best execution for being a Dodge. It feels Alfa Romeo. And the other thing is the build quality. Build quality for the Hornet, not that good. It's built in Italy. This thing's been plagued with electrical issues. I mean, sorry, that's just how it is. I'm very I like Alfa Romeo stuff. I think the Giulia is a really sharp car. It was fun to drive. It was tight for me to get in. I smashed my head on every Alfa Romeo vehicle. You might remember the Top Gear episode where Jeremy Clarkson tries to get into a Giulia and he smashes his head into it because of how the pillar is. The B pillar is. The Stelvio has that same problem, and so does the Hornet. Because the Denali has the same exact issue. You smash your head into it every time you get in. Other than that, if they could take that platform, widen it, take the body off of it, make it boxier, make it more Dodge in the interior, put some... They could do a lot of carryover parts for all I care. They could execute this thing way better. I think this was just thrown together, and I think that had to do a lot with, cost cutting. And the funny thing is, if you look at Dodge, right? Yeah, Alfa Romeo kind of lines up with the Dodge philosophy. But if you look at like other vehicles that are based on this platform, so you got like the Compass and all that, every one of them have different styling. So why is it that the Dodge was limited to just being an Alfa Romeo slapped together? It didn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. Let's see here. I don't drive much, just go to work, school, gym, or the train station to go up to California or San Francisco. Yeah, dude, the 500e would be a great fit for you. You can get one for pretty cheap, like really cheap, because no one's buying them right now. All right, I had to refresh my thing because everything is freaking slow here. So I'm like way back, so hold on here. Not a fan of Stellantis. I miss the old Chrysler Corporation. CDJR needs to be split independently. Quality and affordability needs to be addressed ASAP. Lee Iacocca would be rolling in his grave if he knew. And that's the funny thing, because Lee Iacocca sold the Chrysler brand on what? Affordability and quality. So remember, if you can find a better car, buy it. Yeah, that one, I still remember when I saw the same generation on the internet. That Milan was beautiful. God, I miss sedans. And that's another thing. Like, there's not many sedans left. So why not, instead of following every other market, if you want to really stand out in the market, build niche vehicles. That's the reason why I'm like kind of up in arms about this whole mid-sized truck thing. I understand as a perspective of why Ram is doing a mid-sized truck because of the price. But ultimately, if it was me, if I was going to put the money down for a new vehicle, I would be building the Rampage here. I'm sorry, the Rampage compact pickup, built on the Jeep Compass, built on the same platform as the Hornet. Same platform, right? Longer wheelbase, shares the doors, windshield, A-pillars with the current generation MP Compass. Perfect little vehicle. Strip it out a little bit more. Have it started. Honestly, if they could build it here, they could have a better premium product than what the Maverick is. If you get into a Maverick, the plastic on that thing is cheap. It's crap. If you look into a used one, like I went and looked at a used one. I think I told you guys this a few months ago. I was just kind of curious about it. They have this like dark blue plastic inside of it. It was all scratched up. It's the cheapest flimsy plastic because they wanted to keep the price down in it. There's no reason why they can't build a compact pickup here. You would only be competing against what? The Maverick and the Santa Cruz, right? And then Toyota's talking about getting into the market. So why, you already have a product, why not beat them to it? The 9-speed automatic transmissions are already built here in Kokomo. The GME T4, which actually powers the Hornet and the Rampage, is actually built in Indiana. It makes sense. So I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. Just check my local dealer. Wagoneer S and Charger Daytonas are $99 a month on a 2-year lease. Seems super tempting. So you have to really read the fine print on that, because the $99 a month, you have to qualify for everything. Meaning employee pricing. Are you a veteran, or not a veteran, I'm sorry, like an active military person? Do you have first responder, are you a first responder? Because you can get cash for that. Do you have lease loyalty? So like, for example, I bought my Charger Daytona and my payment was like $480 a month, right? With 12,000 miles, and it had to come out of a lease program. Okay. So not lease program. I'm sorry. Correction. I'm getting tired. It had to come out of a demo program. Okay. In order to be considered for lease. So basically it had to have 500 miles on it. So you had to go through all this stuff. Well, I didn't have a lease at the time, so I didn't get the lease loyalty bonus. I'm not a first responder. I'm not an active military person, so I didn't get that. Luckily, I know somebody within Chrysler who gave me an employee discount. So employees that work for Chrysler get one employee discount that they can give to anybody. So I got that, and then I could stack all the incentives on top of it. So my car was $480 a month with a 12,000 mile lease per year. And that's a 2-year lease. Now, the thing is, if you go and look at these $99 a month things, you're talking about the most minimal miles. You're talking about, you have to qualify for everything. So realistically, you're probably looking at about, if you're looking for an RT, you're probably going to be around $300 a month. Honestly, that's what you'll probably be around. And again, it's all based on credit and everything else. There's a whole bunch of different factors that go into it. I have the 2-liter, but yes, the 1.5 had those issues. Let's see here. Oh, your comments came up backwards. 134,000 miles. That's what you have on there. Cool. My dad's Accord is a really nice car. It's got such a comfortable back seat to it, too. I suspect the Hornet will get replaced by 2027 with a new one based on the J4U with more Dodge-based body and more American-sized interior. I hope so. That Hornet is kind of like the new Dart. Kind of is. I'm 5'6", and the Hornet is still too damn small. Yeah, my son's 5'7", and he's 15, and he was crammed in the back. Like, his head was smashed in the back. If you go on the channel here, you can watch my review of it. I actually put him in the back of it, and he shows you. Like, he's pretty smashed in it. I thought it was a stopgap for dealers to keep them connected until the next charger comes. And to meet CAFE standards on double while keeping Italian factories humming at the same time. You could kind of say that in a way, but honestly, they just needed to have more stuff in the lineup. Dodge has dwindled down. If you think now that the Hornet's gone, the Charger RT, the Charger Daytona RT's gone, you really have right now, because the Charger 6-pack models have been pushed back a little bit. So right now you can either get a 2026 Daytona Scat Pack, 2-door or 4-door. You can get the Durango, and that's it. So Dodge pretty much has nothing in their lineup. And that's the sad thing. Like, Dodge needs to expand their lineup. I'm sorry. That's what they need to do. Let's see here. Hold on here. I'm refreshing my screen because I'm way behind. So anyways, there's going to be another thing, like another article about this whole ordeal going up on Mopar Insiders probably in the next day or so. I'm working on it right now. And then, let's see here. This was another decision that was kind of a big decision that I posted yesterday. Stellantis is pulling their plug on basically their hydrogen van plans. So basically, if you were over in Europe, Stellantis has really been pushing this whole hybrid, kind of like it's a mix between an EV and a hydrogen-powered vehicle, so hydrogen fuel cell technology. And they've put it in all their full-size vans and their mid-size vans. And now they're just pulling the plug on it because what they found out was, well, there's not enough stations to charge the stupid things, like to fill them back up. And basically they're doing it for compliance, and the take on it isn't that great. So basically, if you go to my article, it says right here that, this is the funny part, it says, the decision won't lead to layoffs. Employees at both production sites will continue working on other Stellantis products, and the hydrogen R&D teams will be reassigned to different development efforts across the company. Also in question is Stellantis' take, basically, in the French fuel cell firm Cimbro, which it co-owns with Michelin and Florva. Stellantis has begun talks with other shareholders to reassess the value or virtues of futures amid what is called a current market consequences. So just last week, Cimbro's longtime CEO, Philip Rosser, stepped down, hinting that the company may have jumped into the hydrogen space too early. So this guy just jumped, basically, he basically resigned from his position. And he basically said, yeah, we might have gotten into the hydrogen space too early. Well, they're developing all these hydrogen vans, and there was some take on it. Some companies love the fact that the hydrogen, to me, hydrogen would make more sense. These hydrogen fuel cell vehicles would make more sense going forward. But the problem is hydrogen's too expensive right now. There's not enough refueling stations for them, even in Europe. So pretty much the whole hydrogen, direction is dead for Stellantis. Now, I've written to my Ram rep trying to figure out what is going to happen with the new heavy-duty truck that they're supposed to be working on for hydrogen. I haven't heard back yet, so stay tuned. Once I hear about the plans going forward with that truck, I will make sure to post them on Mopar Insiders. So, honestly, Dodge and Chrysler are so thoroughly underinvested that would cost plenty, and I hope they would turn things up, eventually revitalizing these two meaningfully. And it sounds like they are. It sounds like they're doubling down. Like Chris Fuel said that basically Antonio Filosa is doubling down on Chrysler. So hopefully we'll see more product. It's just going to take time. I'd rather have them take their time and run these things late, but execute them properly, than what we've seen with the Charger Daytona. Honestly. Bad to hear about hydrogen cars getting an axe. Guess I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Hyundai and Toyota, as they are still sticking with hydrogen vehicles. I'm occasionally seeing Exynos too. Honestly, just get Fiat and Alfa Romeo out of North America immediately. I 100% agree with those. You got a lot of Alfa Romeo and Fiat fans here, but the problem is they're not buying product, and they just spend a ton of money on marketing those brands, and nothing gets done. If you look at sales of Fiat, they're almost 50% lower than what they were last year. They'll be lucky to break, I would say 3,000 units this year. And Alfa Romeo right now is on the point of only making about 6,000 units, where maybe even just a little over 6,000 units, where last year they basically sold 8,500 units in the US. So, who knows? The other good thing is we haven't heard much on Mopar lately. And Mopar is actually opening up a new affiliated accessory kind of portfolio. So basically, a lot of the stuff that people buy, that are like third party kind of stuff, Mopar's been watching, and they're actually adding those to their lineup. So basically, pretty soon they're going to redo the e-store, which the Mopar e-store, if you've ever been on it, is one of the worst websites I've ever used. It is so difficult to, navigate through that website. I wish that they actually got somebody that would know what the hell they're doing and completely revamp the website to make it super easy. It is so confusing to find part numbers, and then they give you just basic like patent drawings of stuff. It is a terrible, terrible website, and I hope to God that they change it soon, because it's been terrible for like the last 10 years. But anyways, they're going to start offering over 1,000 new accessories, basically for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles that are from third parties. And there'll still be, basically, when you buy these from Mopar, they won't void the warranty or anything. And that will be great. And you can be able to get them shipped to your dealer. And basically, the dealers can install all the stuff for you. So, again, Tuffy security products. I had, back when we started Mopar Insiders in 5th Gen Rams, Tuffy... back, I had my 2019 Ram 1500. Tuffy actually sent me a really cool gun safe for underneath my seat. I had to remove my my divider for underneath my seat, but I actually did a video. If you go onto the 5th Gen Rams website, I did a whole video about installing the Tuffy, basically the under back seat gun box, the locker. Super simple to do, heavy duty steel, really good product. Another thing that we talked about on Mopar Insiders too that's really cool is like the show and stow license plate brackets. Jared Belfort did actually have one on his 2019 Challenger 1320. And if you might remember what the stow and show thing is here, if you go down to, I think I put them on here, yeah. Basically, Jared did this. It's if you have to have a front license plate bracket on your car, it kind of like takes away from the styling of it. Well, Jared didn't want to have to do that, so what he did was he installed this what they call a stow and show, and basically it's a bracket that slides underneath the front fascia of the car. You bolt it on, and you can take and put your license plate bracket underneath the car when you're at car shows with the license plate, so you won't even have to see it. So basically, instead of drilling into your front fascia or anything, it actually hides your license plate, but it's functional. So like it's out where people can, like when you're on the turnpike and stuff, they can still scan it and stuff like that. Super cool idea. And now it's available through Mopar. So if you really want one of these, you'll be able to go on Mopar. You can see here, instead of drilling the holes in the front fascia of the car, it's actually under there. You can pull it out and to actually stow it underneath the car. So if you're at a car show and that, you don't have to have drill holes in the front face of your cars. I hate that. I absolutely hate when you have to drill in the front of your cars. And another thing is too, if you own an Alfa Romeo, you know how stupid the Alfa Romeo, because you have the V-shaped grille. These ones you can just store underneath the front of the vehicle, and you don't ever have to worry about it again. And then again, like I said, if you want to watch the Tuffy video, you can go on the Mopar Insiders and click on this. And basically, they sent us these things, and here's me putting my gun safe into the back of my Ram 1500, which was really cool. It was actually pretty simple to do. You had to remove a few things, like the seat brackets, and just bolt it in. It was pretty easy to do. It only took me probably about 30 minutes to do, but there was no cutting or anything, and it fit in actually pretty good. The only thing I could say about the safe that I didn't like was the fact that I had to lose some storage underneath the seat because it was so big. So if you wanted to like fold the seat up flat and actually use the floor flat, you couldn't. But it was awesome to have lockable storage in the back of the truck. So if somebody broke into the truck, everything was locked up. So, and I actually had a problem with that because somebody did break into my truck one night and stole one of my cameras out of it. So that was actually a really nice feature to have. So it's good to see that these third-party companies are being recognized by Mopar. So you can go on and actually you can click, if you go on the Mopar Insiders page, you can actually click on this QR code and it'll actually take you to all the affiliated accessories and stuff that they're launching now. And then let's talk about, well, there's quite a few things. There is this. Ram has officially updated their website for 2026, so now you can build your own 2026 Ram 1500 pickup the way you want, like actually want it, and all the pricing's on there, which is nice. So again, this is a Warlock pickup here, and you can see it's in that new Canyon Lake green color, which is cool. And this one's actually, I did this one, so it's got a Hemi in it, the towing package, all that. And you know, everybody's complaining about the pricing of the Hemi. The Hemi is actually cheaper than what it was going into 2024. So basically, Tim cut $200 off of the price. It was $3,095. Now it's $2,895 over the Pentastar V6. So again, it's actually cheaper. Now, yes, some of the truck prices have gone up, but for the most part, the engine price is lower. I actually, when I went through the actual building price, I actually played around, and there's some new packages that I actually found that are really cool. One of the trucks that I absolutely love was the Ram 1500 Laramie Southwest Edition. If you lived in certain states, there was a certain package that added like power side steps, panoramic sunroof, more chrome accessories and stuff like that. Well, now other states couldn't get that package. Well, now they're calling it the Laramie Preferred Package. So you don't get the Southwest badging, but you get the same package pretty much. And this is one that I did with, this is one that I did with Hemi, the setup. You can see the symbol of protest badge on it in granite crystal. I think this truck's really sharp. And it was, I think the actual package with all the stuff on it was just a hair under $70,000. So, I mean, it's still a huge amount of money for a truck, but it was exactly the truck that I would probably buy if I was looking at a Ram 1500. Now, my favorite base model truck right now, I wouldn't say base, but my favorite sport truck model right now is the 2026 Ram 1500 Express Crew Cab 4x4 with the Hemi with the Black Express package. Now, again, you don't see a symbol of protest badge here, but the truck will come with one. But you do get with the Black Express package, you do get the Laramie's Sport Performance hood. You get the night edition looks, basically, the same as the Bighorn. So you get LED headlamps. You get the 20-inch older Bighorn wheels. You do get basically side steps that go all the way to wheel, which is nice. And then you can see here, which is really nice. And then again, it just is a very nice package. And then the funny thing is with the Black Express package, you can actually opt for if you don't want the 8.4 inch screen, you can opt for the 12-inch screen in the Black Express package, which is nice. So again, Hemi powered dual exhaust system, Super nice truck. And this truck, like how this was marketed, or how I laid this truck out with hydro blue and everything, I think it was like I want to say like $53,000 in the way that this is laid out. I want to say like 53. It was like 53 and some change. So it wasn't terribly bad, but you're looking, this truck is basically what a Bighorn was a couple years ago. So, and then the other truck that I absolutely love, I still think the Warlock is the best bang for your buck package. Now, the Warlock has gone up in price just a hair because of the Hemi and stuff, but here's the funny thing. This truck was about $55,000. So you get the Canyon Lake color is standard. You can either get it in white or Canyon Lake, and there's no extra cost. So this little like new green color, basically no charge extra. And you're getting, what you're getting is basically a Ram 1500 Rebel for about $10,000 less. So for 2026, you can get it standard with the Pentastar V6. This one here, I think I did a Hemi in this one too, and it came out to be about 55. So it wasn't too bad, but basically 8.4 inch touchscreen, LED headlamps. Yes, you still get halogen tail lamps. I'm sorry. Same thing that the Rebel has, but if you're looking to save some money and you don't really care about, you know, the fancy interior, you can get this truck pretty much about 10 grand underneath of what the Rebel is, with the same running gear, same tires. Pretty much you get different wheels, different front, the basic front fascia and stuff like that. But it's still a killer truck for the money, in today's money especially. So you get a 1-inch factory lift, Bilstein shocks, skid plates, 18 by 8-inch black painted aluminum wheels, dual black tip exhaust, LED headlamps and black badging. Inside you get an 8.4-inch Uconnect 5 screen, 7-inch digital TFT screen for the gauges, lane keep assist, blind spot detection, second row in-floor storage, and a leather wrap steering wheel. So, and then again, you can get one for under $50,000 with the Pentastar V6. So if you don't even care about the Hemi or the Hurricane engine, you can opt for that. Now, the funny thing is, if you get the Hurricane engine, you get 420 horsepower, and that thing is a killer setup for that truck. A lot of people still don't like the Hurricane so much. So again, if you want to spend an extra $1,200 over the Hurricane, you can get the Hemi and just be done with it. So the Hemi still comes with 395 horsepower, which isn't too bad, but the Hurricane does outpower the truck. So let's see here. I'm sorry, I gotta refresh my thing again. Hold on here. Let me see. Come on. All right. Also found is a Mitsubishi-based Ram 50. So yeah, this Ram 50 this truck actually, I did some research on this thing. This thing actually was for sale not that long ago and went up to like $52,000 and never sold. So right now I think it's, what was it listed at? I can't remember what Vanguard listed it at. 56. But it went up to 52 and wasn't sold. But it's a cool truck, man. If you're looking for something like that's totally different, that's totally restored. I mean, this thing, they spent some buco bucks on restoring this thing. 4-cylinder engine. It's got the, what is it? It's, I wrote it in here. It's a 2.6 liter 4G54 inline 4. So it makes 105 horsepower. It's got an actual 5-speed manual transmission. The interior is done really cool. Super sharp colors. But it's at Vanguard Motors here in Michigan. And it's, again, a cool truck, but they want like $56,000 for it. So, but it's basically completely restored. If you're looking for something totally different to go to car shows and stuff and really stand out, this thing's pretty killer. And the graphics just pop. I love that green and the yellow and the orange. And you can see everything's mint on this thing. Look at it, imported for Dodge. Super cool little truck. And that's what I'm saying, like the Rampage. Like this, honestly, a Rampage would be the spiritual successor of this. There's no reason why Dodge can't come back out with a pickup, like a compact pickup, and just, it would be super popular. Let's see here. There's a couple other things I wanted to talk about too before I get off here. Come on, let's go. All right. I gotta go back a page. There was a lot of stuff going on when I was at Carlisle. There's the Rampage right there. I did a whole article about that. That thing is really killing it in Brazil right now. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. So, there's been some rumors going around. Adam Stein from the Sports Business Journal, who's mostly dedicated to NASCAR over there. Tim, when we had that meeting in Auburn Hills, Tim did say that, stay tuned. There's more stuff coming in the pipeline. He basically kind of hinted at stuff, and he said they were going to do different things. And if you watch the Kevin Harvick interview that he had, he said that they were planning on doing some really unique things going forward. It sounds like they're going to launch their own kind of driver tryout show. And Adam Stein from the Sports Business Journal reported this the other day. Basically, Dana White from the UFC could be hosting the show, maybe doing a little bit more like with the production of it. We know Dana White did the voiceover for the new Ram commercials, but it sounds like they're going to do a whole competition thing for their driver setup to actually get somebody into this truck. So Tim did say they were going to do some different marketing things, and it looks like that's what they might be doing. Now, Ram hasn't said anything about this. They haven't confirmed or denied anything, but they haven't said anything about it. And it'll be interesting to see going forward, because a lot of people are kind of excited about Ram getting back into NASCAR. A lot of people hate the way NASCAR's run now. But nonetheless, this is a huge step going forward to get Ram and Dodge back into certain motorsports here in America, because if you win on Sunday, you sell on Monday. So again, it sounds like they're going to be doing this. We're probably going to hear something very soon about this, because again, if they're looking to do an actual TV kind of thing, it could be shot right now going forward into Daytona, because Daytona's in February. We're only 7 months out. And then on top of that, it could be shot during, or it should be shot during, and then we'll probably make its debut right after the Daytona 250. So we'll see. But it sounds like this is pretty much a done deal. But again, Ram hasn't said anything about if they're going to do it. If they're not going to do it, we haven't really heard. So stay tuned for that. This was another car that I was going to talk about. This car has been up for grabs quite a few times at different auctions, especially Meekums. This is a very rare. Now, there's a CUDA version of this car too. There's a white CUDA version, but this is the very first 446 pack convertible for a 1970 Dodge Charger Challenger that's ever been built. Basically, this was a pilot car, and it was one of only 61 made, and it's going back to auction on July 26th. Now, the very interesting thing about this car is, again, it's been over the last 2 years, it's been at auction twice and never sold. So hopefully it will find a home this time, but it's got a very cool history. So again, it's only one of 61 V-code Challenger convertibles. This one was built on August 1st, 1969, so basically during the very first days of the Challenger production at the Hamtramck plant in Detroit. And again, it's pretty damn clean. So it was featured in Car Life magazine in December 1969, the Dodge News magazine in May 1970. So it's a super cool car, super rare, but it still hasn't found a home. Again, it's been completely restored by Restorations by Julius, but the odometer has 61,207 miles, but again, it has not found a home in years. So hopefully it will find a new home. And then the CUDA one that is going to auction, you'll see it here later this week on Mopar Insiders. So stay tuned for that one. If you guys seen the video I posted on here, you'll see it on Mopar Insiders too. This is the very first Chrysler Carlisle Nationals parade they did. I just did my dad shot this video because I was shooting still images. But very cool little parade they put on. They only did a parade for Carlisle only did a parade for the Corvette Nationals, and they're hoping that this whole thing will continue on next year. So hopefully, if you didn't get, you weren't there to see it, you can go on either this channel or go on Mopar Insiders. You can watch the whole video. It's only 8 minutes long. There wasn't a huge amount of cars, mainly because it was so freaking hot. The temperatures there were 90 plus degrees. It was humid, muggy. We finally got a little bit of rain on Sunday, or not Sunday, I'm sorry, Saturday, to kind of cool it down a little bit, but it was so hot. I mean, everybody was sweating their butt off, and I could see a lot of people just didn't want to go and ride in the parade. Now, the interesting thing was they were supposed to have that Sherman tank in the parade, and you can see it in the video that my dad shot here for the channel. The only thing is, it didn't get to run on the. They actually got clearance. They had to get clearance to run the tank on the actual road because of the tracks. But when they had it set up to actually start the parade, it was leaking gas. So at the very last minute, they had to like say, "Hey, it's leaking gas. We can't run it on the street." So it was canceled. But it was all right. It's still not a bad parade for what it was. So hopefully next year they'll do another parade and it'll be bigger than that one. Hey Dan, how's it going, man? Let's see here. When you're asking, I mention it because of the article where it says, to me, the perfect 1500 would be the Tradesman 4x4 quad cab with a Hurricane with the basic front end in forged blue metallic. That would be a pretty sharp truck. I actually like the quad cab, but having kids, like having actual teenage kids, you got to have that more room. The crew cab Ram 1500, the 5th gen cabs, it's actually bigger than the mega cab that the 4th gen heavy duties have. So it's a very comfortable truck. I do like, the problem I have with the Ram 1500s is you only can get a 6'4" box, right? You can't get an 8-foot box anymore. So if you get the crew cab, you can get the 6'4" box. You can't get a lot of the configurations. Everything's crew cab 5'7" box. And while the 5'7" box is okay, like I live here in Metro Detroit, sometimes it's hard to jam that truck into certain spaces. But when I'm actually using the box, I wish it was a 6'4" box. But the problem is you lose out on a lot of the configurations for the truck. So like, for example, you can't get the Warlock with a 6'4" box. That's stupid. You can get an Express with one. You can get a Tradesman with one. You can get a Bighorn with one. You can't get a Rebel. The Rebel is only 5'7" box. If you can't get an RHO with a 6'4" box, you can't get that. So there's a lot of different trucks that you can't get with the bigger box. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. So I have a quad cab Rebel and I like it. Yeah, and that's the thing. They built them. They actually built them a few years ago, and now you can't get a quad cab Rebel. I don't know why. I mean, I understand that the sales take was low, but it's still nice to have that option. So, and the matter of fact, they built quad cab Rebels with the Pentastar V6 too. So, I did this article tonight. This article about the RHO returning for 2026. I actually got all the official pricing, not from the Ram website, but I actually got it from a third party, and none of the prices really changed for the RHO. So that's good news for 2026. The real big thing is the truck still pretty much the same. There really isn't any big changes other than color. So again, if you go through, I wrote about how a lot of people think that this is, a poor replacement for the TRX. The TRX isn't being replaced by this truck. The TRX is coming back. We'll talk about that more coming up in a future article on Mopar Insiders. I found out some really interesting information about that truck. But anyways, the 2026 truck, again, everybody's been talking about how they hate the Hurricane engine. I had this truck for a week. Ram sent me one. I was really impressed with the powertrain. I do hate the fact that there's a lot of plastic on the top part of the motor for the Hurricane engine, but for power wise, this thing actually was really decent. 540 horsepower isn't a joke. The suspension setup in it is really good, especially here in Michigan where we have terrible roads. I did a little video on it. If you go on the channel here, you can watch it. I'm working on a video. I shot like 5 hours straight of video of driving this thing for 100 miles on an actual, like, very consistent loop, not of just highway, but like actually driving it in bumper to bumper traffic and all this stuff. I'm going to try to get it done hopefully by the end of the month, but I want to post it because I was really impressed with how this truck was as a daily driver in traffic, highway, uneven roads, all that stuff. So I want to post a lot about that. But anyways, this truck, for what it is is not that bad. But I'm going to tell you something. You can get one of these trucks fully loaded, and it's $86,000. That's what the truck they sent me was. If it was me, I'll be 100% honest with you. Save the money and buy the base truck. Yeah, the fully loaded truck, you get the 14.4-inch Uconnect system. You get the passenger screen. The passenger screen doesn't do much. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't do much. 14.4-inch Uconnect system. The 12-inch Uconnect system is actually better, I feel. Really, the only thing that I absolutely love about the RHO level 1 package, that's 10 grand, is the massaging seats. But if you can do away with the massaging seats, just do the standard $70,000 RHO. And again, you can get it in Canyon Black, or sorry, Canyon Lake, that green color for 2026, and it's no cost. So if you want something different, that's what it is. But I broke it down into all the pricing here, so you can see like the actual vehicle price. So base price is $69,695. Destination charge is an extra $2,095. So for under $72,000, you can get one of these trucks and just get the bare bones truck. Honestly, you don't really need much other, unless you want to get like the towing or bed utility group, which aren't that much. But I'm telling you, save the money. Like the exterior graphics, like just for the bed graphics is $495. To me, that's dumb. And then the hood graphics, that stupid hood decal that sits on the hood, like the truck that I had actually didn't have that. That was $900, $895 for that. Aftermarket running boards, I would suggest if it was me. And then never buy a Mopar tonneau cover. I've done a whole thing about, there's videos on this channel I posted about like the multifunction tailgate. If you watch that, you'll see why I hate the Mopar tonneau covers so much. Aftermarket is cheaper, so much better options. But honestly, if you're going to buy one of these trucks, if you don't have to have a fully loaded one with the panoramic sunroof and stuff, buy the $72,000 truck. Save yourself some money. The truck, if you look at what the Rebel costs compared to the base model RHO, the Rebel's like 66 with destination, 67. This truck's only a few grand more. So much better of a truck. So much better. More horsepower, better suspension, better looks. It's wider. I will tell you, it won't fit in some car washes. If you try to run it through an automatic car wash, there's a lot of automatic car washes that won't accept this thing because it's so wide. But overall, better truck than the Rebel. And, it's not that much more. The only thing is a lot of times you can't get the discounts that you can get on the Rebel. I'm sorry. But if you really want a good off-road like truck, just as a daily driver, this thing is, I drove the TRX. I like the TRX. It's a great truck, 702 horsepower, plenty of balls. The thing is you're constantly filling that stupid thing up. It gets about 9 miles a gallon, if that, especially with the Hellcat, because you're constantly punching on it because it's so much fun. With this truck, it's plenty fast. It's faster than what my 300C was by far. And honestly, I was getting like 15 miles per gallon average. In the city, I was getting about 12. On the highway, I was getting probably about 20, probably pretty close to like 19. So it wasn't too bad, but it's a great truck overall. Great looks. Everybody comes up to me, like when I had that truck, everybody came up to me to talk about it. Even the guys with the TRXs, because they were kind of curious about the Hurricane engines. A lot of people thought it was a TRX when they seen it, because obviously it looks just like a TRX, minus the headlights and the front grille for 2025 and 6. But great all-around Ram pickup. So if you have a chance to, you could afford one, get a good deal on one, definitely check them out. I think it's a great package for 2026. And again, there's some new colors, and basically everything else is the same. So even the same price. So that's good. Let's see here. It's stupid that they don't have a regular cab with an 8-foot box anymore. Yeah, that is stupid, Grant. But the thing is like, a lot of people have said that. But the problem is like everybody says, oh, I would love to have a regular cab, but nobody buys those trucks. Out of all of the, like, if you look at like the average, I think, who was it? Was it Ford or GM? One of the two companies, I think it was Ford, said basically out of all of the trucks that they sell, only 5% are regular cab models. And I think Rams were even less than that. So to them, it's like, why build it if no one's going to buy it? Now, fleets could buy it. That would be kind of cool. Like, obviously, like Fastenal used to buy a ton of regular cab Ram 1500 Classics, but there isn't enough there to justify building it. Now, the only benefit of having a regular cab long box pickup, honestly, besides having fleet sales, is the fact that if you look at Ford and Chevrolet and even GMC, they can offer their trucks cheaper because they have a regular cab model. Ram is a little more expensive. So if they had a regular cab, short box truck or long box truck, they could probably bring it down to having an entry level price of under $40,000. The problem is you go into engineering, tooling, and development of that truck. You're spending a lot more than what they think is beneficial for them to build it. So that's the whole purpose. That's why they don't have a regular cab truck. Would it be cool for a performance truck? Hell yeah, it would. A regular cab, just like the Rumblebee or even the Ram SRT10. The thing is everybody wants more crew cabs now. Crew cabs are what sells. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. If you look back, you might remember the first gen Raptor you could get it in super cab, or you can get it in crew cab. Now, you can barely get anything other than a tradesman base model or a Bighorn with a quad cab. Everything's crew cab now. It's just how it is. Even the new Ram midsize truck is going to be crew cab only. And that follows suit with Ford and the GM twins, the Colorado and the Canyon. Everybody wants a four-door truck. It's just how it is. It's stupid, but... let's see here. That's what I have, the V6. Again, that's a great package. A lot of bang for your buck. And now, if you wanted something like that, you have to get the crew cab and a Warlock truck. So it's basically you're getting more of a premium package with what you got, Dan. Let's see here. Hold on here. Going up to Silver Bay, four-wheeling, we'll pulling two Sportsman 570s. So you got Polaris, man. That should be fun. I haven't been out four-wheeling in a long time. I used to go do a lot of quad riding when I was younger. The Hurricane Inline 6 is a fantastic engine. It just needs some things to further bulletproof the engine. I agree. So, like, for example, they had all those thermostat problems. The problem is the housing that holds the thermostat is all in freaking plastic. They need to, seriously, they need to do some certain, get rid of all the plastic stuff on the top end of the motor, and half of that stuff that they have issues with would be done. The only other thing that they're having problems with is, so for emissions, what they're doing is they're dumping fuel down the cats before the vehicle starts up, and then when it fires up, it burns off emissions. Those are causing issues, that situation is causing issues with certain models. So basically, the cats are catching on fire. So that's one thing that a lot of people are now worried about with the Hurricane, because they've had Wagoneers and stuff do that from the dealers. So hopefully they'll fix that very soon. I think it's mostly a programming situation. Are they just never going to build a true 5th gen HD? So here's the thing with the heavy-duty trucks. A lot of people have asked this over the years, and originally when I was out chasing the heavy-duty trucks, I originally thought they were like the 5th gen cabs. It wasn't until late when I started catching them, when they started to open the doors, I'm like, oh man, it's just another 4th gen truck. The problem with the heavy-duty trucks is the fact that the actual emissions and crash test standards are different than what they are with half-ton trucks. So technically, they don't have to update them as much. You might remember Ford ran the same cab for the Super Duty forever. They just kept changing the front clips on them. And then they finally went to aluminum. And since then, they've had the same kind of cab. Well, with Ram, if you look at a Ram, we call them 4.5 generation on hdrams.com, because the reason why we call them 4.5 is because they had a significant update. Even in 2025, they got a huge electrical update. but they're the same. They're still the same platform designations. It's just like the Charger, Challenger, and 300. They were like the 300 was always the LX, even though it went through an update in 2011. It went through an update again in 2015. It was still the LX platform car. So with that being said, the same thing. Kind of think of the same thing for the heavy duties. They're still the same truck. They don't have to go through the emissions. They don't have to go through the crash test standards like a half-ton truck does. So that's why they haven't changed them. Why change something if it's not broke? The thing is I would love to see those trucks changed. Now when I interviewed Ryan Nagoti, who's head of basically Ram design, I interviewed him back in 2019 at the North American International Auto Show, Detroit. And I told him, I said, hey, you can go on 5th Gen Ram's YouTube channel and watch the video. Basically, when I talked to him, he said that they designed the interior for the 2019 trucks and the current trucks, basically along with the 5th Gen cabs. They're the same components. The door panels and everything are different because they're 4th Gen door panels, but because of how they mount to the firewall is the only thing that's different about them. So they engineered that truck. But if you actually get into a 5th Gen Ram, you can actually put your fingers way down into the sides of the doors compared to a 4th Gen truck, because the 4th Gen truck's really narrow compared to the 5th Gen. Where you really see the difference is if you park a 5th Gen heavy duty next to a 5th Gen. Let me see. Let me see if I can go on to HD Rams, because I have tons and tons of photos of these trucks next to each other. And I will show you. Let me see here. So Ram sent me a Power Wagon back in 2020, and I had it next to my Ram 1500. And I'll show you the difference. Let me see here. This was during COVID. They actually sent me one of these trucks, and it was actually a lot of fun because I took it way up north in northern Michigan. I thought I had a picture. I got pictures of it somewhere. I gotta find them. I have pictures of it sitting next to my 1500. Let me see here. Let me see. They're on here somewhere. Anyways, the difference in the size of them right here. Here we go. So the 4th Gen trucks are taller. Let me see. Give me just a second here. I'll just go on Google and type this in so you guys can see. Let me see here. Come on. Open up. I did a whole article about them being, is the Ram Heavy Duty a true 5th Gen Ram? And you can see that the 5th Gen truck, just by looking at the front, is a lot wider. Now, obviously the heavy duties are taller because of the suspension, especially with the Power Wagon. But the 5th Gen trucks are so much bigger. Like, so much bigger. You can even see in the cab size. This picture doesn't tell a lot because you got to remember that the Power Wagon is 6 foot 4 inch box. And my Ram 1500 that I had was a 5 foot 7 inch box. But you can see in the cab just how much bigger the size is compared to the 4th Gen cab. And you can see how much further forward the actual wheel sits than the 4th Gen trucks. Because you can see how the door's like curved way down. The other thing is again, if you look at the interior, this is the Power Wagon here. It looks pretty similar to the Ram 1500 down below. But again, if you look at the actual sides of how the truck is, they are the same dashboard. They're just mounted different. The thing that really is different is the steering wheel. So basically, they've changed it since then. But back then, this was running the old 4th generation steering wheel with just a new, airbag cover. Basically, it was running the same controls you can see here. And then the 5th Gen had the newer controls. They've changed that since then. They've updated it a little bit, and especially now that it's got a new electrical architecture for 2025. But yeah, the reason why is just because of crash test standards and stuff. And the thing is they've been talking about it for a while of when they're going to update the trucks. And if you're wondering what my dad is, that's on the channel here. If you're wondering what he looks like, there he is right there. The thing is like the trucks themselves, they are probably going to run the current generation trucks until 2028, if not 2029, before we get a new one. That's just how it is. And by that time, you got to remember this actual heavy duty has been out since 2010. So it'll be out almost 20 years. So yeah. And if you look at it compared to the current GMC Sierra heavy duty, even the Ford Super Duty, the Ram is actually smaller. Ram heavy duty, GMC Sierra, hold on here. Sierra heavy duty 2025 size. Because if we look at the actual size of the trucks, they the new Super Duties in that are a lot bigger than the Rams. I want to see. Hold on here. I know TFL has the trucks all together somewhere. But anyways, if you look at the actual size of them, you can see that the Sierras are way bigger. Like way, way bigger. Let me see. Hold on here. 2025 heavy duty TFL truck. These guys usually do. Andre used to be pretty cool with me because I used to give him spy shots all the time. He's a pretty nice guy. You can see here, look at how small the Ram Heavy Duty is. Hold on, we'll enlarge it. Come on. I'll enlarge the photo. You can see how small the Ram Heavy Duty is compared to the Super Duty and the Silverado Heavy Duty. I mean, just look at the size. Like, look at how massive the grill is on the... And even if you take and actually look at the actual, proportions, even with the headlamps, because the grill looks wider, you can see just how narrow this thing is. And they're all lined up pretty dead even. Let's see here. They should have... I'm hoping they have some side-by-side pictures. Maybe not. But anyways, you can kind of see, again, Ford's, using the same cab over and over and over again. GM, they're updating their trucks again. But they've been updated completely. The Ram is still like the oldest truck on the market for what it is. So, yeah, it's a lot smaller than the rest. Whoops, hold on here. I don't want to open up an image. I want to minimize that screen. So, yeah. Are they just never going to build a true 5th gen truck? They probably will, but it probably will be a few years down the road, to be honest with you. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I highly doubt that they will probably miss out on it. But the thing is, honestly, you probably will see... I don't know how long they're going to keep the 5th gen trucks, because 2028, that's going to be 9 years. It's going to be a while, man. Honestly, it's going to be a while. They're going to keep the same trucks around for a while, I'm sure. So, all right. What else was I going to say? I don't think there was anything else I was going to talk about, really. Expect more videos coming out on the channel. I know I haven't been posting any just because I've been out and about and busy, but there's going to be more stuff coming in the next couple days. I might do a couple videos a day just to catch up because there's so much stuff going on. But other than that, hopefully you guys have a good night. Again, check out Mopar Insiders on a daily basis. There's usually 3 to 4 articles a day. We're probably going to do some car show stuff this weekend, at least Cars and Coffee. I'm I'm going to try to get out and do some Cars and Coffee events. Probably be at Pasteiners on Saturday. I know that M1 Concourse, I'm writing an article about it. They're going to have Mopar Cars and Coffee here in Detroit. That's going to be a pretty big one. And then the Red Barns, Gilmore at Red Barns event's going to be a big event coming up. And then we're going to be also talking, I was going to do a video on Roadkill Nights. I went and shot why they're going to do it back in Pontiac. So that will probably be up on the channel too. There's just a lot of stuff. I just haven't had time to really go through and do a lot just because I've been gone. So stay tuned for all that stuff. So anyways, hope you guys have a good night, and I will catch you guys later.